I wanted to talk about how to move on from a girl you've never even dated. You know, a lot of people deal with this. Maybe it's a female coworker or somebody you met at school, and you just become infatuated with them. You want to date them, or maybe it was somebody from long ago that you had the opportunity to date. Maybe they hit on you, and you just kind of brushed them off. I know I did that when I was growing up. I just wanted to go home and play video games. I was not interested in dating. And then when I reflected back on that, I was like, wow, I was getting hit on all the time. All these missed opportunities to, have a girlfriend and all these things, because the only thing I cared about was playing video games and tinkering and having these crappy hobbies. And then much later on, I reflected back on it and I was like, oh my God, I had all these opportunities to have a girlfriend, to have a wife. And I remember I was, obsessed with one or two of them, of where it could have been, what it could have been. And over time, I got over it. They got married, and I realized, we weren't really compatible. And that's the main thing. How to move on from someone you never even dated. A lot of times it's like the mystery of what could have been. And over the years, like dating and stuff and having girlfriends and realizing I was not compatible with them, that they wanted different things than what I could offer, and just coming to terms with the fact that those people were not for me. And a lot of times it was, reflecting back on it, really delusional to value those relationships and stuff. And it's the same especially with women you've never even actually dated. You just kind of had the opportunity to think about what if you dated them. Maybe again they hit on you years ago and you realized you missed the opportunity, or they were just around and maybe you just didn't ask them out or whatever, and you're like, I should have done that. Things could have been so much amazing, so much better, but now I'm alone and I missed the opportunity. And I gotta say, a lot of the women that I knew growing up, they became morbidly obese. They turned out to have a totally different personality than me, that was not compatible, that they just did a bunch of things with their life that, I realized, it wouldn't have worked out. I remember women that literally had a new boyfriend every year, and, just to think, oh, that could have been the one, when they've dumped, half a dozen guys ever since I known them, and you could have just been one of those people. So, that's the main thing, the whole what if or missing out or, this could have been the one mentality. And usually it would take a couple of years and I would realize, oh, that was not the one, that was not the right person. They're into totally different types of guys than me. Their lifestyles, their personalities, I don't like them, Or like I said, they get morbidly obese all of a sudden. That's happened quite a few times. Women that I knew growing up, and the next thing you know, they're morbidly obese and they have a bunch of bastard babies running around. And you're like, holy shit. Or, there's a lot of situations that could have been pretty shit, if you actually did date them, if you actually did settle down with them. So, and again, the whole nostalgia, looking back on what could have been, and kind of just wallowing and reflecting on that, only to much later on realize, oh, that would have been bad. That actually would have not actually been a good relationship to have been in. But it's mainly the thought of what if, or the mystery, and to just think of wallowing for years and years and years about what could have been, only to realize that it wasn't even going to be like that. That was just in your head. That was just a delusion. I can't, tell you how many times I thought I was in love, or I thought I had something when I didn't. When reflecting back on it, I was like, oh my God, I was an idiot. I didn't see that, women that cheat on men, women that don't want to settle down, women with crap personalities, women that just get obese and blow up. That's a big one. Things like, oh my God, I could have been in that situation. And again, it's mainly the delusion of what if, oh, I messed that up. It's the nostalgia, living in the past, of what could have been, quote, quote, missed opportunities and blah, 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 blah. And those are just not things worth wallowing in. And again, I've seen people obsess over women, again, that they work with or whatever. And, they're just lonely and they want to be loved. And they see these women around them and they want to date them but maybe the woman's not interested. But it says they have that void within themselves that, they want to be loved. They want to have social interaction. They want attention. They just obsess and wallow on, somebody that they've never even dated, and think about how good it could have been when honestly most of the time it would have been shit. It would have been terrible for a lot of reasons. But that whole insecurity, being alone, being desperate, makes you obsess and wallow over situations that are delusional as a coping mechanism, So that's a biggie. That's a biggie. Just realizing you're literally being delusional, you're obsessing and wallowing over things that like test. Okay. Just make sure both the stereo microphones are equal levels. But yeah, that's the main thing, don't wallow or obsess over what could have been. I remember so many people that I grew up with, and early on their relationships were really good, and then you give it a few years. I'm thinking of this one particular one where they both got morbidly obese after a couple of years of dating and settling down, and then they got divorced. So a lot of people talk about that. You have a high school sweetheart, you settle down and have kids right out of high school, and the next thing you know, they get morbidly obese, they drift apart, they don't, they take it for granted, and it all falls apart, and you're like, damn, that actually turned out really bad. I'm glad that wasn't me. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Just remember, don't be delusional. Don't over-glamorize something that you've never had or could have had. Think about the present and the future, not the past. Or situations you're in right now where it's clearly not going to happen. There's plenty of other people out there. You don't have to obsess over one.